My name is Robert Blackledge. I'm the founder and CEO of Course Align. Start off with a little audience participation. How many of you graduated from university? Take a look around. A lot of you. How many of you graduated with the skills you needed to get the job you wanted and make an impact? Not a lot. The university system can't keep up with employer demand. In fact, my co-founder and I bonded on this. How many of you have seen a job at posting for entry level, 1 to 2 years experience required? Impossible, right? Spend 4 years in the education system, a lot of money, enter a market, looking for an entry level job, and you can't find anything without required experience. Universities are developing curriculum that lags behind employer demand. This creates a skill gap. Consequently, they're actually having financial trouble because of it. Over 50% of their funding comes from federal and private funding sources. The state of Florida in 2015 passed a performance-based funding requirement, meaning if they're not aligning their curriculum to the local job market, they don't get money. Universities are responding by spending over $1 billion, $1 billion, trying to understand what the local market needs are. Unfortunately, all they know are manual processes that give them anecdotal and ad hoc advisory information. And we still obviously have a skills mismatch. That's why we created Course Align. Course Align is a data-driven, real-time analytics platform that provides them information on their local market's employer needs. We do this through API calls, not only to the job sites and the job boards, but to their curriculum. So it's hands-off. There's nothing they have to do. We integrate in real time to their curriculum and to the local market, and we analyze it through our analytics platform using natural language processing and that artificial intelligence, which is really machine learning, but that's a different story, to give them actionable insights so they can develop curriculum that meets the needs of their local employers. We sharpen the edge of that knife so that when students graduate, they can get the job they want or go after the thing that they're passionate about. We've had such an impact. We actually have soft commitments from pilots with USF, UF, and UNC, and other local universities and educators in this market. Myself and my co-founder, Jennifer Groniak, have the skills to get this done. This journey started for me when I graduated with an MBA, entered a market, and ended up looking at 100+ jobs, applying, and everyone requiring experience and really getting very little response. I have a ton of experience, but none of it was executive C-suite, and when you get an MBA, it doesn't really correlate. I started a company, hired people out of the education system, expecting the problem being experience, found out that there was an actual skill gap because they didn't have the skills I needed them to do as a small and medium business. And so I closed that down, became an educator, started training people in the skills that I needed, realized that this wasn't a scalable business and was going to take too long to really affect the larger market. I had the unique opportunity to go on Startup Bus and really get an incredible foundation for the start of Course Align, where we came on the idea that we can make a big impact globally with an analytics play. Jennifer Groniak is a data scientist at Jabil. She's worked with big data at University of South Florida and has a bachelor's in statistics. The problem is real, it's big, and it's happening right now. Thank you.
Is part of the problem also the speed with which the universities can actually develop new
So here's
courses?
a really cool thing, right? The majority of what they teach is theory, and you need theory. You need to understand the basics and they understand the concept of what's going on. But they are actively able to change a small percentage of their curriculum within a semester. They're given that right, the accreditation boards want them to do it, they're given that flexibility to meet the needs. The problem is that most of the information that they're given, the analytics, are 2 to 3 years out of date. They're macro, which means they're looking at the nation as a whole rather than your local market. So if your local market isn't playing to the global trends or the national trends, it does you no good. Most people want to stay where they're at. They don't want to go wherever the trends are in the country. And the universities are trying to adjust their curriculum to meet those national needs. And employers are yelling like, hey, yo, we're not doing that. We're over here and you're over here. And so what we've done is actually analyze that local market so that educators can really course correct to meet that local need.
Can you give me an example specifically of what kind of thing you're talking about? Generally, I'm thinking that these problems are usually solved with internships.
Sure, if you can get one.
Yeah.
And the medical field does an incredible job of doing it. But their problem with skill gap is that nobody wants to work 12s and holidays. Yeah. The rest of the education system doesn't do a really good job of providing practical application of theory in their education. It's mainly theory, and they rely on the community to provide internships and educations. When you're a small, medium business, it's really hard. 1% of employers are large companies, and those are the ones you tend to see give you internships. They actually only have 1 or 2 jobs. They'll bring on 30, 40, 100 people with 1 job opening. 98% are small and medium businesses who can't afford to give you an internship. And they have to have you come on the job with the skills to do the job and make them money at day 1. And when you have an education system that trains for the big guys, we're missing a lot of gaps.
Whatever happened to on-the-job training?
It works when you can afford it as an employer. So historically, we've had a system where people would stay at an employer for 30 years and I could invest in you and get that money back. We've changed, we're in a different economic environment where people job hop more frequently and they don't stay. So it doesn't work anymore.
So I got the problem that you're trying to solve pretty clearly from the presentation. Don't quite get, is there a web application? Is there a process?
So we're a platform.
Can you show us or give us examples?
So I don't have a live demo. If you go to our website, Course Align, there's some photos of it. We built a micro prototype on the startup bus. If anybody's familiar with that, if you're not, check it out. It's probably the most phenomenal entrepreneurial experience you can ever go on. In 3 days, we built a functioning prototype. We looked at the local job market in New Orleans, tied it to a site of a computer science course curriculum, and identified the employers in that market that were actually going to be affected by that curriculum. We could see what skills they needed, who was hiring, what in that curriculum aligned with that course, and what was missing.
So just some tough love constructive feedback. You've got about 2 extra minutes. It'd be cool to see that solution.
So we're building out a full collection platform that'll be finished in February, and then I'll have a full demo for you and everything. Microsoft's giving us some amazing talent to help us build that out on Azure.
So universities, in full disclosure, I just moved from LA. I own something in ed tech, and I've invested in ed tech, and it's a big area. It's a tough area.
Sure.
Google is killing it with free courses in the business skills, and the universities are saying all the same thing. When it comes to the actual business skills of sales, communication, they can't get the students in. And there's a company, they pay $40 grand a week to come in and do this.
So you're talking about the soft skills, or?
It's business analytical skills, which are technically soft skills.
You can't get students to join those classes.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So how are you selling it to the university to make it?
So we're validating in the local market, and then we're actually going to the accreditation board. What our beautiful thing of what we do is we actually validate about 1/3 of the accreditation that they're required to do. 1/3 of the write-up and most of the accreditation, there's 8 of them, and they all have different texts, is that you have to meet the local market need. As a student, when you go into an education platform, it tends to be your idea, about 80% of people, is that I want a job, or I want to go after jobs. Our platform lets you understand what that roadmap is, not the first version. First, we're helping universities better align themselves with what they're doing. But once we've integrated with it, we can identify in multiple universities who is the best player to get you to where you're going as a student.
This might be a little bit early in the journey to answer this question, but I'm just curious, you know, maybe 2 to 5 years out, you know, if you had a magic wand and you could just say, like, when did you nice it? What's your end game? Because, like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I could see it going
Global.
No, 20 different directions. 20
So-
different directions. 'Cause, I
so-
mean, I've worked inside e-learning. I've worked inside some of these different
Real quick
areas.
synopsis. First we get some validation, then we go up the accreditation boards, then we're national, then we're an accreditation system for all the universities, and then you can tell which university is actually teaching people the things they need to get the skills that they go into the workforce. And then from there, we can actually leverage all those to understand who's teaching what and implement real AI, because that'll come in about 5 years, to really create an amazing personalized education system to the point where you as a person can really truly get a personalized experience. I know you had a question.
So your prospects are every university in St. Paul?
So we have multiple shareholders. We have the education university system, anybody who's developing curriculum, the actual employers, right? So the people who are needing skilled talent, the student, the parent, the accreditation board, the government, the economic development center. We have quite a few.
So kind of following up on Chris's question, I think that you well articulated the problem. Some understanding, you know, to me, my best guess now is that you keyword scrape job descriptions and keyword scrape syllabuses and match them. What more do you do to add value, and what final product are you actually delivering to them to help them accomplish these goals?
So machine learning, analytics. So nobody's really doing it in real time. Nobody's doing it. You're right. It's not really crazy hard. And it's really frustrating for me that this doesn't exist. They're using really outdated stuff to
How do you
do
package
this.
the results? So you get the keyword matching and what?
Yeah. So we use a codex and natural language. If you want to have a long conversation, we can have a longer conversation about how we're actually playing with it. But it's not super complicated if you're in the field.
Yeah, so how would you differentiate yourself against a competitor that would like to
Yeah,
do
so
the
we
same
only have
thing?
one real
Second-
competitor.
Second question.
Yep, sorry.
Why can universities do what you do?
Why can't they?
Yeah, hey, I like this.
They could,
Internalize
but
the process.
unfortunately they're slow. And just like any large
But
company,
you're asking them to get fast. So once they get fast.
no, we're not. So we're not changing what they're doing. We're not. We're providing them with, we're replacing the information they're currently using with better, more accurate, and to be frank, cheaper information.
You said you were trying to make them become more agile to the market. You're not
They're
saying-
already changing their curriculum every semester to try to adjust to it. They are spending $1 billion doing it. They're doing it now on 2-year-old information. I give them real time down to the actual job, to the actual class. Let me get there.
Yeah, so I think the question that I have as a former educator is, I hear course align, I hear the statistics, I hear giving them up to the minute data that will help them better design courses, but are you also, I hear course align, is there also course design that goes with that? Because if there isn't, I don't see,
So
the
educate.
data then falls on an empty sit.
You know, educators are really good at what they do, and we're going to have a percent of the universities that are just going to go, right, not do it. But there are some really good universities that are actively trying. St. Pete College is on their game. They are trying to match this local market needs. They are getting out in the community and having conversations. Giving them something like this puts them a step above everyone. Nobody's going to be able to touch them. And the universities that hop on board and start doing this aren't going to be able to get stopped.
Can you give a little example of the output? I'm still trying to put all these.
Yeah,
pieces
so-
together.
Yep.
So one of your earlier slides, you have these API calls to learning management platforms and job sites. You're pulling all this data in real time and presenting something to the universities, let's say, to help them with the course content. What does that look like for them so they can shape it?
You have internet? So I don't have, I mean, probably don't have enough time to pull up a demo on my laptop, but this is an actual live screenshot of our prototype. Oh, come on. There we go. So this is New Orleans. You can see Deloitte is the #1 employer. Most people know that. It's a top major company. Nobody knows the next 9 companies on that. I guarantee you the universities in New Orleans do not know them either. And when they go out in the community to have a conversation with employers, because that's the method that they know, they go and have conversations with Deloitte, Microsoft, USA, and those big players, and they miss the other 9 players that are in the market, who are the majority of the hiring companies. What we do is we give them a higher overlevel of what they're looking for. We also identify who the major players are. And then we tie that to the actual courses. So if you're a professor and you're trying to develop an actual course that meets the local needs, you can actually go have a conversation with health systems and ask them, what are they actually needing? And you can build out an actual practical application of what you're teaching that meets the actual job that someone's applying for. How cool is that? Like,
So it's on the university, based
Yep,
on,
they have a
based on the summary level data that you provide, you go reach out
Oh,
to
it's-
employers, see what the needs are for.
it's incredibly detailed. This drives down even further. This is a screenshot I can't show you, but it drives all the way down to the employer, ties it to the job. We have high-level overview of the actual curriculum of a particular course, so if the dean looks at it, they can see how overall, what percentage they're doing and how they're matching up. It's a whole analytics platform. Amazing.
Yeah, being catered to the local market. You talk about St. Pete College, and I think that's great. I think that's where your target market ought to be, that small technical college that's in the local area. Like, people go to University of Florida and then come home. Not a lot of people go to University of Florida and want to stay in Hogtown.
So the cool thing about this is we can direct it to anywhere in the nation. So you can see how your courses, right, at whatever school you go to, aligns with your hometown.
So a student could do that, or?
In version like 3, but yes.
So just to follow up, it sounds like the way that when you go in university and you go to rate my professor, you're also going to go to course align. And
So course align would probably pull in rate my professor and then give an idea to the university so they can better adjust. But then we could also create a platform for students where it would pull that on. I love pulling data in. Put it all in one spot and let you really make the choices in an intelligent manner. This is all about giving you the information so you can make smart choices.
I'm sorry, if I could just follow up.
Yep.
Taking it from a student perspective, if they can look at this data and align their syllabus and know which courses to take, which electives to take, that's a very valuable tool.
It is. And the cool thing about Florida is they're a Common Core, which means that you can technically take courses at any educator in the state. And we can rate them once we're up and running. You had your hand up.
Wouldn't it be cool if you took this, right, and then just like one extra step, or maybe you probably already thought about this, but the colleges looking at where all of their alums are, and then looking at those markets, right, and then aligning with those, because like to that point right there, like they might not want to be in, middle of nowheresville, U.S., but
So universities are already doing this, and they already know which markets they really serve. Our target platform lets you target it. So if you, as a university, for example, like some smaller universities aren't really targeting their local market. My MBA was at Midland University in Fremont, Nebraska. I didn't even go to the Fremont but once to graduate. They were in Omaha. So their market's not really Fremont, it's Omaha. This platform lets them target wherever they want and let them really understand with that local market that they are servicing what their needs are.
You mentioned at the outset, that the problem was employers are wanting 1 to 2 years of experience, and the person who's graduating does not have that if they cannot get an internship.
So,
hang on.
Yeah, sorry. I'm excited.
Are you suggesting that the employers are going to accept the college universities targeted courses that you have helped them align to as the substitute for the internship or the 2 years real world experience?
So let me put it this way. If I'm the educator and you're the employer, and I come to you and I say, I'm building out a course, and I need to know what you as an employer need so that when my student graduates, he's valuable to you as an employee. He's not going to have everything, but at day one, I want him to have the skills he needs so that you can start making he can be a value to you. That is incredibly valuable. That's what this does. This allows for that to happen on a local market, on a wide scale across the entire university. There are hundreds of thousands of classes happening every day, and none of them are tied to the local market. None of them are tied to the majority of employers. They're all going after the big pie in the sky. This is literally down to the granular level of who's actually hiring in your market today.
So have you actually talked to employers who said, if someone took, I think,
Yeah, so
I could be wrong, but I think there might be if I'm an employer, I'm going, well, I know what colleges teach, and even if they're teaching the right area, do I trust that as the equivalent of real world experience that I'm asking for, my 1 to 2 years experience?
So here's the problem. Back up. They won't even give internships now because they don't even have the skills to give the internship. We're working with, it's in the air, there's a lot of stuff's fluffy, so 2 cents, right? We're working with talking with SOCOM and CENTCOM and USF and building out the analytics to identify the shortcomings in USF's for an internship program at SOCOM and CENTCOM. An internship. They're way off base. They're not even close. This gets them a lot closer, a lot faster than anything else out there.
So that's really valuable what you just said. For our company, we've been trying for about 1.5 years to find the right marketing interns. And there's several issues with that. Number one, they all think it's either just social. It's post on social. Well, that's not marketing. That's just a piece of marketing. Or it's hard to find. Sometimes you want them unpaid that'll go for credit, which I think there's value to that. Other times we don't mind paying if the value is there, but it's not always there. Yeah. So there is a challenge. So this is the first piece, to me, that I'm like, okay, that I can grasp because it's affecting me personally.
It's so far off base. They're not even close to the local market. They are targeting large companies that have a few jobs. 98% of employers are small and medium businesses. 98%, and we're not developing curriculum for them.
I have a second question.
Yes.
Did you start this concept or company? You're already working, and this is already.
We launched in October.
Okay. Did you start this on Startup Bus?
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
All right. That's pretty cool.
So a lot of what you're saying here is validated, and it's also known. 2.5 years ago, for 18 months, I worked with LMU, Loyola Marymount, out in LA, and we did a skills gap survey. I authored it. They analyzed everything. The buy-in has to come in, though. I'm sorry, but from the end consumer, which is the student. And to your point about, because they will not show up and sign up for things that they really need to know, that the employers are looking for.
Yeah, but my 2 cents is that they're already still going to university. We're still going through education system. So if we fix the main system, or we start changing that instead of introducing something new completely that we have to push people towards, I'm trying to do something big and change the world.
Robert, I think it's really important because I know, what started this movement for you. But as a small business owner, you weren't able to take the time as a small business owner to train the skills. And most of our employees now, they're only sticking around for 2 or 3 years because, everybody's job hopping, just like you said. So this is very personal because he experienced
I've been in your shoes. I've been in the educator's position. I've been in the employer's position. I've been there. I've done it. I'm fixing it. Or doing my best.
Like you said, I think that's the key, right? The key is it's going to take time, but the key is to start a culture where it's not just it's not just people taking classes because this is what your advisor is saying that you have to do, but let's take classes. It goes back to like why, I mean, I know we're not all like balancing our checkbooks anymore, but we have 4 kids, you know, and our oldest 3, well, 2 of ours are graduated, but now our other ones, they are still asking us like, how do I balance a checkbook? How do I da-da-da-da-da? They've taken home ec out of schools. It goes back to basic skills that you really, truly need in the workplace. And especially in Florida, we're in an environment where, I can't remember the percentage, but startups and entrepreneurs and new business is like crazy booming. And you're on this side, and you want value. You want people that come to you that know what to do. And I think that if you can create this, well, you did create it, but if this can catch on and work, and they do reach out and say, what do you really need, it can truly be a great thing. It's hard to make people change the way that they've always been.
The beautiful thing of what we're doing and where we're starting is we're not changing anything, we're replacing something they're already doing with an easier, cheaper, more effective process. So we're the friends of the university system. We are literally making their job easier. This is a pain point they are feeling from multiple points, from the market, from the government, from their internal systems, and we're literally just giving them better data to run their stuff up. We're not trying to build curriculum, we're not trying to do anything. We just know that with a data approach using modern technology, we can give them the information they need to make the decisions about their education more accurately.
What are they spending on it?
$1 billion. On average, $125,000 to $160,000 per university. $50,000 for an economic development department to do an analytics on the local job market, which still is garbage. No, you had a question.
I did. Is this only for technology jobs?
Yep.
So for degree agnostic jobs, what are you reporting to?
Same information. So that's where the beauty of data, of natural language processing comes in, and we really understand what an employer is asking for, and we understand what the university is talking. We're a translator between the two worlds. Universities kind of speak their own language, job employers speak a different language, and they don't really communicate really well together. We're the translator. And then we use some machine learning to give them some really cool and actionable insights on that information.
Can you give just an example of like what that means? Like, what is an employer word? What is a university word? And what is the
I have a co-founder who is way more versed in this than I am, and that's kind of our expertise. But a good example is like an employer might want a team leader, but it's not going to call it out straight in their verbiage. It kind of gets lost in the paragraph that they're saying. We want somebody that works well with others, or whatever jargon. And the university is going to say we do team exercises where we team projects, right? So team projects is team building, which works on collaboration, which equals the people that work well together. It's soft skills building, and that's what the university is trying to create in that program for you. But it doesn't necessarily drink. Here's a really cool. We want to talk about where the students gain value from this almost immediately. Once we integrate, we can identify for the career sources. If a student says, I want this job, we can say, in your career courses, these are the skills that apply directly to that job. Talk about a cover letter that is phenomenal. Like, I can't even remember half the stuff that I went through in my school and pulling that out. Being like, here is everything that applies to this job.
So piggyback on that, for the student who's going to select a college, or the helicopter parent who wants to get their kid, so he or she can be hired by St. Anthony's Hospital, looks through, see what St. Anthony Hospital needs, which universities cater to that the best, and they can pick which top 3 colleges they want to send their kids to.
These are all on the horizon. These are all things I've thought about. I'm of the mind of build a scooter, build a skateboard, build a scooter, build a mini, so on and so forth. We know that we have to build the data analytics first, and there are people willing to pay us for that. So we start there. Then we build the integration with the universities, and there's people that will pay us more for that. So we go there. Then we start looking at some really cool stuff, because now we have the data.
All right, time for the final question. What can we as a same team community do to help grow Courseline?
Cool. So we are in a seed fund round. If you or anyone you know has gone through that or has experience with that, I would love to talk to them because I need advice. Second, tell people. We are a new startup, and these universities have been doing it the old way for a long time, and they have no idea that there is a new way of doing things. We want to help them.